The explosive personality is one of the best support weapons in Destiny 2, and nobody's talking about it. So in this video, I'm gonna break down why it's so good, and why if you're a support player, you need to craft this thing as soon as possible. If you guys haven't heard, this is a solar wave frame grenade launcher, which means when you shoot it, it drops a line of fire at the enemy's feet, and that's exactly where you want to put the shot. It comes with the land tank perk, and when you get a kill with the explosive personality, it's going to give you 10 resilience, which stacks up to 3 times, and because resilience got changed when Season of the Haunted came out, it's more important now than ever to have your resilience stat be as high as you can possibly get it to be, so you want to make sure that you're actually doing that, and this is going to help you get there, meaning you can run 70 resilience and get up to 100 just by getting a triple kill with this weapon, which is really nice because it's giving you that free damage reduction in the background. And if you guys don't know, at 70 resilience, you are sitting at a 20% damage reduction, and 100 is a 40% damage reduction, which means getting kills with this weapon gives you a substantial amount of additional damage reduction, which is going to come in super handy later on down the line. Now, you want to combine that with Ember of Tempering, which gives you and your allies 10 recovery every time you get a kill with the weapon, and when you do that, you can stack that up to 3 times as well, which means you can give everybody on your fire team plus 30 recovery as well as yourself, and in addition to that, get plus 30 resilience to yourself. And this is what makes it such a solid support player's weapon, because you're able to buff the health recovery speed of everyone on your team so easily by just getting kills with the gun itself. And when you combine that with Ember of Torches and Ember of Empyrean, it gets even better because you can use a melee to activate the Radiant buff, which if you guys don't know, that's 25% extra damage. And with Ember of Empyrean active, you can use the explosive personality, and every time you get a kill with it, it will extend the duration of your own Radiant buff, which means you can keep that 25% damage up pretty much forever. In addition to that, you can run this with elemental well mods like Explosive Well Maker, and Explosive Well Maker is going to spawn a solar elemental well for you every time you get a double kill with the weapon, which is really easy to do, but getting a solar well every time you get a double kill with the weapon makes it easy to activate things like Font of Might, and I'll talk more about that too in a bit. I have a whole section dedicated to damage and we'll go over it, but Font of Might is something that you can easily activate for a 25% damage buff, and you can also do things like Well of Life to give you healing over time, or Elemental Charge with any kind of Charge with Light mod to make yourself charge with light every time you pick one of these up. And again, all of this is happening: the recovery, the resilience, the extension on your Radiant buff, the solar elemental well from Explosive Well Maker, all of this is happening just for using the gun. You really don't have to do anything except actually shoot the gun, and you're providing so much to your team. From there, you can also slot things like Wrath of Rasputin to spawn Warmind cells, and because of how many multi-kills you're going to get with this thing, you're really going to spawn a disgusting amount of Warmind cells, and when you combine that with Fire Team Medic, now every time you blow up a Warmind cell, you're also getting health regeneration for everyone on your fire team, and that is going in addition to the recovery that you're already giving them and the resilience that you're giving yourself. And again, all of this stuff just stacks on top of each other, and all you're doing is using the gun. From there, depending on what class you are, you can use the Verity's Brow for Warlocks, or the Path of Burning Steps, or the Phoenix Cradle for Titans, and get additional buffs to your kit just for using the gun itself. With Verity's Brow, you're going to get the Death Throws perk that pops up on the left side of the screen every time you get a kill with a weapon that matches your subclass, and that significantly reduces the cooldown of your grenade, which if you're running a support build, you're probably running the Healing Grenade, and that's going to make it even easier for you to have that up just pretty much all the time. With Path of Burning Steps and the Phoenix Cradle, you're able to stack on an additional damage buff that helps you get more kills with the gun and is just solid for the amount of damage that you can put out. Hunters are the only class that doesn't really have an exotic that works for this, but you can run the Aeon Swift, which means that anytime you finish off a major or champion, you're going to be spawning special ammo for your team, and heavy ammo if it's a champion. Overall, this is just a really solid exotic to be running to make your team succeed more in any type of content, doesn't even matter what you're doing. As far as perks on the weapon, you can go for things like Stats for All and One for All, and this combination together makes it really easy to continue to do what you're already doing and make the gun even stronger than it already was. For example, with Stats for All, you get a massive bump to your reload speed for hitting 3 targets. With One for All, you get a 35% boost to your damage whenever you hit 3 targets. And because of that, the 2 perks work perfectly in tandem, and again, they work with everything we've already put together. The Land Tank perk activates, giving you that extra resilience. Ember of Tempering comes up, giving you and your allies that 30 recovery. You're still extending the duration of the Radiant buff with Ember of Empyrean. You're still spawning those elemental wells with Explosive Well Maker, and with Font of Might on, you're going to get that 25% damage buff, which stacks with Radiant, which stacks with the 35% buff from One for All. And if you want to take it even further, you can use the Lumina exotic hand cannon, and when you get a kill with Lumina, you're gonna pick up a noble round, and then you hip fire shoot that at one of your allies to get an additional 35% buff. And when you have Lumina and One for All with Font of Might and Radiant active, which we talked about earlier, you get 120% damage buff, and you keep that 30 recovery and that 30 resilience up all the time. And on top of that, you're making more mind cells too, which you can blow up to give your team healing with the Fire Team Medic mod, in addition to the damage that they already do. And overall, the whole thing just makes for a super solid support setup. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments section, and I'll see you in the next one.